Trent's situation, he's definitely, as we all would, he's used that situation to his own advantage where, how can I sign? Don't know what the new manager's like, how successful are you going to be in the future? So I get that.
He has to use
Then, so when we're talking about the actual club, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes and the people who are there now, they've been sort of left that. Do you understand what I mean?
I'm not having a go at the current people who are there now. I'm having a go at the club over the last 3 years, not seeing three of the best players in Europe and in the world being signed up. You could have been the tea lady, the kit man at Liverpool, and made the decision to keep those three players and give them a contract.
Okay.
You didn't have to be a sporting director.
So, I know. So what I'm saying is, when you've got players who are 33, 34, did the club come to us with 3 years to go or 2 years to go? No, they didn't. We all know they didn't. So Trent Alexander-Arnold will have been spoken about with a contract. There's no way FSG said, with 12 months to go, should we go? He's used the situation to his own advantage and said, I'm not signing, I don't know how successful the club's going to be, what's the new manager going to be? And he's used that to his advantage.
Look,
and Liverpool find themselves in this situation.
Carra, you've been a young player at a club that's come through the ranks. You're also not usually treated as well as you should be on contract.
We'll get back to Carra, Nev and Kino in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D Talks Football video hits. And as ever, if you've got something to say, if something is bubbling up inside of you that you need to express, please put it in the comments. Big D reads all of the comments and he's always interested in what you have to say, even if you think he's talking nonsense. Stick it in the comments. The Big D can take it on the chin. He doesn't have a glass jaw. He can take it. Anyway, in this clip, we are listening to Carra, Nev, Kino, talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold and the situation regarding him potentially going to Real Madrid. Now, this is from the overlap, and this popped out today. So this is updated information. Anyway, stick around for after the clip because the Big D is going to be giving his thoughts on this situation with regards to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Here it is.
We know we're going to Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Oh.
And the noise that's coming out, I don't know where the noise is coming from, but it looks like there's a bit of, I suppose, traction building around him going to Real Madrid. I mean, it's been going for a bit, but it feels like it's getting quite serious this week.
Yeah, but I always think this international break, when you think about it, everything stops the football. I think it probably is a time where every club are getting the things in order, Andy, for the summer. You know, speaking to agents, who's coming, who's going. So it was always going to blow up at some stage with this.
The right time to blow up. Feels like it's been dropped in, done its own.
Yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed a player like Trent and these top players haven't already agreed with a club.
You probably have, haven't they?
Do you reckon it's all done and already signed?
This feels like the first step of sort of getting probably Liverpool fans used to the fact that he's probably going to leave. It's almost like a.
What do you think?
What I'm saying, it probably feels like it's a.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, when you look at
it,
people say the reaction, and people always look at social media now, but it's like social media is that toxic and that how he shouldn't play for the club again, or Slot shouldn't play him, or things like
Jim?
that. I know. No, what I'm saying is that's not. People use that now as the barometer of like, the fans of it. It's like, but it's just a mad place, isn't it? It's not what normal.
But you know, in other sports, a lot of players and managers make announcements in loads of other sports that they're leaving at the end of the season. Happens, loads of sports.
Well, Klopp did it last year.
Yeah, but soccer teams, when the players' contracts are up, and obviously I know there's more to it, he's a local. I get all that a little bit, but what is the big issue? Why would people hold that against
I
him?
think when you look at...
Brother's getting a bit as well, apparently.
Who is?
Trent's brother. You know.
Yeah, well, he's his agent, isn't he?
So that's going to be...
Yeah. But the way where I'm at with it is, it seems like people have... There's not one thing people are sort of really... It's like someone's... because it's on a free, or he hasn't come out and told the club earlier, or, when they put the bid in Real Madrid, there's... people are like sort of angry at maybe, say, 3 or 4 different things. I'm not angry about this thing about him going on a free, really. I mean, in an ideal world, Liverpool get 70, 80 million pounds, they can go and reinvest. But I always feel that you can't have it both ways as a supporter, because if Liverpool signs someone on a free in the summer, we'll all be delighted. Yeah. Does that mean his former club should absolutely hate him? And I always think as well, when you're a local player, you don't cost anything. So Trent Alexander-Arnold going on a free is like Virgil van Dijk leaving for 75 million. Yeah. Virgil van Dijk, we'd still break even. Liverpool broke even. So I'm not angry with him going on a free transfer. Would have loved money to replace him if he moves on. Where I'm at is that I just think as a local player and a Liverpool fan, Liverpool are in a position they have been the last 5 or 6 years where they're competing for the league and the European Cup every year. So if you're a Liverpool fan and a local player, I'm just disappointed that he doesn't think this is it. In terms of like, I'm putting myself in his position where I'd be thinking, we could go level with United here on the leagues. I've got another, say, 7 or 8 years left at Liverpool. I want to get up to 3 or 4 ahead of them. Can we get another couple of European Cups? You know, because I said to you before, we always talk about rivalries, and Liverpool's rivalry is United or Everton or whatever. We never think of rivalry as like European in some ways, and in some ways Real Madrid is a rival. Now, no one's ever going to catch Real Madrid in terms of European Cups. They are the biggest team, most famous team, the biggest club. But Liverpool, I'd be thinking, I'm desperate for Liverpool to get second on that list. AC Milan are on 7 European Cups. Liverpool are on, Jesus Christ, I forgot that. Liverpool are on 6, aren't they? 6. If I was him, I'd be thinking, we've got a great opportunity, going to win the league probably this year, could do this, could do that, and at the end of his time, put Liverpool in a position. But that's just me. I'm disappointed as a Liverpool fan. That's the only thing I look at with it. I'm thinking, you know, Stevie didn't have that.
Why do you think he's leaving?
I think Trent is a player who definitely looks at himself as almost like a brand. And I think that's not just him. I think a lot of players do now. And I go back to an interview he gave on Sky before Christmas, and he said something that didn't go down particularly well with Liverpool supporters. But he was asked, he was given sort of 5 options, like of, you know, which would you pick as the most important one for you? Be the captain of Liverpool, win the Champions League with Liverpool, win the World Cup with England, or win the Ballon d'Or. And he chose the Ballon d'Or. Yeah. And I was like, wow, you know, okay, well, you know, he wanted to be the first fullback that won the Ballon d'Or. So, okay, Maldini's never won the Ballon d'Or, and no fullback. So there's nothing wrong with having ambition and wanting to be the best you can be. But that didn't go down particularly well because...
But can't that be... can't you look at that and say he wants to do so well for himself? If he wins the Ballon d'Or, his team's probably going to be winning.
Yeah, or the other way around. He could say, I'd like to win something like... some of them big prizes that we mentioned, and then you get the individual awards on the back of it, not the other way around, Riley. That's
but this is what people are not used to in respects of somebody having that kind of...
Isn't he lucky, though, a little bit over the next few months, because the Liverpool, look, they have the league wrapped up. Imagine if it was tight in the league, and he was playing, and he was making the odd mistake. I think that's where the trouble could be in the last month.
Well, that's where it kicked off, right, wasn't it, when the Man United game, and the reason it kicked off there was because of... Real Madrid put a bid in.
That weekend, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's where people think you know, people this season maybe thought I had a problem with Salah or Trent. If you actually look at what I've said, my problem has been, don't think about yourself and the team are going for the league. Now, we've been players, you have things with contracts and clubs. I never move, but, you know, things go on and clubs are not always angels, we all know that. Exactly. But my big thing has always been, don't put yourself before the team or the club this season. This is too important. Slot's first season, going for the league.
You think he has done?
No, my point being, where I was upset with Trent then, was about Real Madrid putting a bid in. It's like, everyone knows Liverpool aren't going to sell him now. They're going for the league. We all know that. Let's not pretend and just have this big dance about, oh, Real Madrid offered you 20 million. You went for free, but we offered you 20 million. Trent and his people would have known Real Madrid putting a bid in. They don't put the bid in. So my thing was a bit like, stop all the nonsense. If you want to go for free, fine, I've got no problem with that. I'm just disappointed because Liverpool are in a great position in terms of being successful in the future. Michael Owen didn't have that. Stevie never had that. McManaman never had the situation Liverpool are where they're seen as almost like, let's say, the best team. Right this second, and I have been, along with City in the last few years, we were always like desperate to be winning what yous were winning, all the leagues, and so you could understand McManaman never played in the Champions League before, or Michael Owen, you know, are we ever going to win the league?
Jamie,
or the European Cup?
What about anything to do with FSG and the fact that they let it get to a place where it's like, because that's what you have to think.
Absolutely.
No, please. No. I've explained this. I've explained this. Stop it. I've explained this a million times. Explained this a million times.
Liverpool are the only club that are allowed to run a player's contract down to 0, but they're still doing okay. 3. But he's explained it, so we're all right. Because from Liverpool, he's explained it. 3 of the best players in the world.
You've got to look at that.
3 of the best players in the world have got contracts running out, but Liverpool have still done a great job managing that. I'm sorry, I can't accept that.
Okay, so let me explain it. So, in a normal circumstance, yes, I get it. The hierarchy at Liverpool, who were a big part of Jurgen Klopp, being really successful. Jurgen Klopp won more stuff, got more power. Those people moved away. The last summer of Jurgen Klopp, do you know who Liverpool's sporting director was?
Not have a clue.
So when you're doing all this for the cameras and you'll go you viral,
What's
you
that
haven't
got to do
actually
with
got a clue. It was Jurgen Klopp's mate.
Right,
Basically,
what's
no, my point being is there was a vacuum. You haven't got a clue what you're talking about. There was a vacuum. No. Listen, you've done your face for you. That'll go out and get Malika go big. So what you've got is no.
Super keen.
Let's get back to the beautiful energy.
So
Jay,
basically,
don't take it there. Come on.
Jurgen Klopp
Well done, FSG.
has got that much power.
Good job.
Right? Everybody has left. Michael Edwards, not just Michael Edwards, everybody's left. The guy who comes after him, who was Michael Edwards number 2, was in the job for 6 months and walked away. So what is that telling you what's going on at the top end of the club? That basically there's a vacuum there. They needed to bring a guy in from Germany who did the job in Germany for a lot of, what are you shaking at that? Middle range.
Let you finish.
Klopp's agent knew him. So but he's out of work, he's not a sporting guy. He basically came in for the summer for Liverpool to sign the players that they signed, okay? So the players then are in a situation, and don't forget Klopp's then, a few months later, announces he's leaving. So the players, number one, I think the older players, Van Dijk and Salah, probably would have been left because they were getting older anyway. But the Trent situation, he's definitely, as we all would, he's used that situation to his own advantage where, how can I sign? Don't know what the new manager's like, how successful are you going to be in the future? So I get that.
He has to use
Then, so when we're talking about the actual club, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes and the people who are there now, they've been sort of left that. Do you understand what I mean?
I'm not having a go at the current people who are there now. I'm having a go at the club over the last 3 years, not seeing 3 of the best players in Europe and in the world being signed up. You could have been the tea lady, the kit man at Liverpool, and made the decision to keep those 3 players and give them a contract.
Okay.
You didn't have to be a sporting director.
So, I know. So what I'm saying is, when you've got players who are 33, 34, did the club come to us with 3 years to go or 2 years to go? No, they didn't. We all know they didn't. So Trent Alexander-Arnold will have been spoken about with a contract. There's no way FSG said, with 12 months to go, should we go? He's used the situation to his own advantage and said, I'm not signing, I don't know how successful the club's going to be, what's the new manager going to be? And he's used that to his advantage.
Look,
and Liverpool find themselves in this
Carra,
situation.
Carra, you've been a young player at a club that's come through the ranks. You're also not usually treated as well as you should be on contracts. And to be fair, there's probably going to be a lot of that going on as well, I suspect, with Trent.
Well, Gary Neville makes a fair observation, and I think he's quite right. And Carra makes a similar astute point as well, like, because there's been a little bit of an international break. That gives the clubs a little bit of breathing room, basically, to finalise incomings and outgoings, or well, maybe not finalise, but sort of work on the outgoings and the ingoings with regards to transfers in the summer. And it would be wise for them to do that because they are complicated processes these days. There's all kinds of agents that you need to satiate. There's all kinds of contracts, and the contracts are probably the size of a big tome like this. So they need to make sure all the lawyers and agents and family members and gardeners and butlers go through everything with a fine-tooth comb just to make sure that all the I's and lowercase J's are dotted indeed. So it's good to get a head start on that kind of thing. Now, it looks to me as though Trent Alexander-Arnold is on his way to Real Madrid. Because if he was going to be staying at Liverpool, I think it would have been done and dusted by now. Absolutely. Probably would have been done and dusted as soon as the new manager was signed, really. And it looks to me that, yes, as Gary says, Liverpool are sort of getting the fans used to the fact that he's on his way. Nothing's been set in stone. They're just drip feeding information, just to cover their own backs, try and mitigate the outrage, because you Scousers, you get a little bit feisty at times, you get a little bit narky and a little bit emotional. Dummies go out of the window. So, yeah, I think that's a wise choice for Liverpool to, a wise play to make, really. And I don't blame Trent for wanting to go to Real Madrid. See this notion about, he's a local lad, where's his loyalty, it's a different game now. Trent is a completely different player and person to what Jamie Carragher was. Jamie Carragher was lucky to be in that Liverpool team. He wasn't going to go anywhere else anyway. I mean, fair enough to Steven Gerrard for staying, because he could have played for any team in the world, but not Jamie Carragher. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's the modern day fullback. really. He can bomb forward. He's athletic. He's fit. He seems to be quite, I suppose, tactically astute. He's a bit ropey in defence, to be fair, but playing in Spain, that doesn't really matter that much, to be fair, because Real Madrid are going to be dominating most of those games anyway. And Ancelotti is tactically astute enough to be able to compensate for what Trent Alexander-Arnold can and can't do. So, and the opportunity to go and play for Real Madrid, where you'll probably get a bumper new contract, pay raise as well, massive signing on fee because there's going to be no transfer fee, and he's going to get the chance to play with players like Modric, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Endrick, who's meant to be the new R9, what 17-year-old striker that they've signed from, I don't know, is it Santos or Palmeiras? I'm not entirely sure, but they got him from South America anyway, and he's going to be playing with Rudiger and Eduardo Camavinga, Tchouaméni. I mean, that's a team. They're probably going to win the Champions League again this year. If he signs next year, I'm not entirely sure if he'll make much of a difference them winning the Champions League next year. But he's going to get the opportunity to compete for that anyway. And he's looked at the chessboard, so to speak, at Liverpool now. He's tried the new manager for a year now, and although looks like they're going to win the league, that's Klopp's team. So it's almost like momentum's won that title. I mean, Arne Slot's come in and just kept them organised and freshened them up a little bit, but it's not his team. So Trent's going to look at how he works day to day, and he might feel as though that he's just kind of riding Jurgen Klopp's coattails, and perhaps maybe he doesn't believe in him in the long term. So he's probably thought, well, I'm not so sure about this manager. It looks like maybe Salah might be gone, Van Dijk might be gone. If anything, those two lads are getting on, so they're not going to be, at their best for the long term. Certainly not in my time frame. So I fancy playing for Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham's over there, my pal. He's always texting him saying, "Are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming?" So he's probably thought, why not? It's not going to affect me playing for England. I'm going to be, potentially winning Champions League, La Ligas. I've done everything at Liverpool, so why not? It'll be an easier life for him out there as well. He'll suit Spanish football. It won't be as physical as well, so he won't be getting battered around as much. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Now, it is kind of curious that Liverpool have let these players run their contracts down. Van Dijk, Salah and Trent, three of their best players. It is quite strange that. Unless they've got someone in mind that they're going to bring in that's going to sort of, revitalise that team, because they have been very good at replacing players, and for a snip as well. I mean, they sold Coutinho for about 140 million, reinvested that, and then won the league. So you've got to hand it to Liverpool. They've been fantastic in the transfer market. So maybe they've got, they've got their eyes on Jonathan David or Sesko or someone like that, or perhaps Lakubu from Leipzig to replace Virgil van Dijk, and they'll potentially get them for a snip, or Scalvini, who's at Atalanta, I believe, another young defender, Italian. And there's sort of the PSR issue. So why would they pay £500 per week for two players for 3 years, 2 or 3 more years, when they are on the verge of dropping off massively? I mean, I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen, because they're both very fit individuals, and football's, different. And as Roy Keane alludes there, your career doesn't finish when you're 30 anymore. It's probably 35. So, they've probably got at least a couple of more years, but still, why not mitigate the financial cost now and get someone in who they can pay a fraction of them, get a couple of people in who they can pay a fraction of the amount for, that's going to have another 8 years to give to Liverpool. So maybe there's a little bit of that. Or maybe it's just an absolute clown show behind the scenes, and Liverpool have sort of come to the end of their cycle of being well ran, because it always happens. It happened to Man United, it happened to Juventus. Juventus used to be the best ran club in Europe when they pulled themselves together following the Calcipoli scandal. But then eventually, it went to the head. They took the head out of the fridge and they ended up getting Ronaldo. Same thing happened to Barcelona. There used to be a mantra at Barcelona when it came to transfers, and it was always put your head in the fridge, and that means keep a cool head. But then obviously that went out the window when they were paying everyone £1 million a week. Understandably though, because it was some of the best players of all time, and Messi deserved his money. But point being, perhaps Liverpool have come to the end of that cycle, and if Edwards isn't there anymore, maybe he was, the brain trust of that organisation for the time. So who knows? Who knows how it's going to play out? I can't see Trent staying. I can see Van Dijk staying, to be fair. And I can see them extending Salah's contract, but then again, it's 50-50 with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he buggered off to Saudi Arabia and they offered him £1 million a week or something like that. Because again, all these lads have achieved everything in football, and maybe they just want a one final big payday. Who knows? Who knows? But what do you guys think? Is the Big D waffling on? Fair enough. If that's what you think, put it in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments, and he's always interested in what you've got to say, just to keep it civil. That's all he asks. But anyway, thanks for watching, and the Big D will see you in the next one.